Hello, welcome to Health Talk. I'm Dr. Manny. Epilepsy affects more than 5 million Americans. A new film airing on PBS called Seized follows 4 families struggling with the disorder and explores some controversial treatments. The film's producer, Peter Schnall, is here with his partner, Amy Morris, who suffers from seizures. Thank you for being here.
Nice to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Very important topic, 5 million Americans with epilepsy and seizure disorders. So, Peter, why did you start with doing this film? What was the reason?
Well, the reason is sitting right next to me, Amy. Amy's been the inspiration and the sort of reason why I'm familiar with epilepsy.
Yeah.
I produce documentaries, and when Amy began to tell me about her journey with epilepsy since she's been a teenager, I was surprised and knew little about it.
Right, so you really didn't know much about the disease or what it meant and how many people were affected?
Oh, not at all. I mean, I certainly heard about it, certainly had heard of folks who suffer from seizures, but when I heard of Amy's stories and what she went through and some of the advances in medicine and cures that are being looked at for now, Amy turned to me and said, you know, this needs to be seen by most of America who don't really understand what we go through, those who suffer from epilepsy, the stigma.
So, Amy, let's talk a little bit about your medical history. You know, you're the inspiration for the film. I think a lot of people don't understand when somebody has epilepsy or seizure disorders, what it's like. Give me a little taste of that so people understand.
Well, I mean, it affects every aspect of your life, especially if your seizures aren't controlled.
Mm-hmm. What has been your journey since the age of 13? In other words, you still have, you know, daily recurrence? Have they gone down?
They have gone down. From the age of 13 to my mid-20s, they were uncontrolled, or they were under control as best possible.
That they could.
Right, different medications, things like that.
And when you were 13, were there any factors behind the reasoning that you developed seizures?
They weren't sure at that point.
Yeah.
So, no.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Which is one of the things that happens with a lot of people with epilepsy. I mean, there are, listen, you know, you have a multiple trauma, you can, you know, and you hit your brain in a certain way, you can get seizures and they can become chronic. But for a lot of people, it's just this ectopic electrical beat.
Right.
You know, it's almost like a heart arrhythmia, and that's what I was trying to get a little bit from you. I want you to talk to me about your discoveries of the treatments and the new things that are out there for the treatment of epilepsy.
Well, when Amy introduced us to the idea of producing a documentary on epilepsy, she introduced us to Dr. Orrin Devinsky, who at that very moment was about to begin a study on the effects of cannabidiol, marijuana oil, on those who suffer from seizures. He had been given permission to actually conduct the experiment here in New York City, and we asked if we could join him and possibly follow some of his patients. We were given permission, and we followed 3 of his patients here in the city who were going through the sort of monthly treatment of taking the marijuana oil.
You see that there's a future for medical marijuana to be used for epilepsy.
Absolutely. Dr. Devinsky found that of the patients that originally were part of the program, about 50% of them showed some sign of less seizures that they had been having in their normal sort of daily life.
Right. You also in the film showcase radical new surgery that is being introduced. Tell me about that.
One of our subjects, a young woman in Boston, actually went for a major brain implant where a device was placed actually inside her head, and what it did was it began, its purpose is to try to actually control the seizures by sending electrical impulses into the parts of her brain that were seizing.
Yeah. Like an electrical pacemaker for the brain.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And so far, the effects, she has not seen a major reduction in the seizures over the past 6 months or so, but she has sort of felt a sort of different sort of comfort in her daily life.
Right.
And so it's an experiment. It's something that's, you know, in the beginning of its sort of trial period.
What do you hope people get from this film?
My hope is that people learn more about the disease and the stigma that goes along with it, and that we can help people with new treatment, exposure, things like that.
Yeah, I mean,
educating people.
Educating and giving them hope, because there are new things that I think are moving in the right direction, and I hope that, especially in the field of medical marijuana, I hope some of the regulations begin to get lifted, and I think they will. It's just that it takes a long time to get anything done sometimes. But anyway, where can people get more information about the special, and when do you expect to see it?
The documentary special is airing on the national PBS networks. You have to check your local station as to when it might be airing. It is up and running now. You can also catch it on pbs.org.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for telling the story, and thank you for making the film together. I think it's a wonderful thing, and it's going to help a lot of people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have any health questions, tweet me at Dr. Manny on Fox. Until next time, I'm Dr. Manny.